Okay, that's right. Okay.
Okay, guys, you're live.
Okay. Thanks for joining us in our first AMA of this year. I'm here with Bruno Raimundo, our support lead, and with our interview, Gabriel Engel.
Hi guys, how are you?
So we have some questions for you, Gabriel. Where did the name Rocket.Chat came from?
Huh, interesting one. So we actually that goes back when we were deciding to use the meter framework, and all the projects using the meter framework at the time would always try to get a spaceship related naming. So there was we tried first was like Comet Chat. We tried a bunch of them, and they're like all the domains were either taken or. And then we found we wanted to go with Chat Rockets, but then the domain was taken. And then I think GoDaddy suggested, they have those suggestions saying, why don't you do Rocket.Chat? Because the .chat domains were going on sale in like in 2 days or something like this. And then there was this opportunity. So it was kind of like we ended up going with Rocket.Chat mainly because the other domains were not available. But and that's why I had the dot in the name. So it's kind of like luck, I guess.
Nice. So, what is the most exciting thing on the feature roadmap from your point of view?
Oh, how many can I choose from? Like,
Like three or
three. Okay. So I think for me, the exciting things that we're finally releasing stuff that we've been working on and plan to release for so long, named like Federation. I think that's one of the most exciting things that we put out there, and there's a lot to develop further with Federation. So the ability for companies to intercommunicate using Rocket.Chat it's really that's the key feature. It will get the network effect of many organizations using an open software with an open protocol to communicate rather than rely on these massive silos of communications created by Google, Facebook, and Microsoft. And so Federation is one. The apps framework will continue to grow. I think we see now that it's getting stable, we're going to see more and more rapid development of the features. And together with the marketplace, it's really what's going to allow the community to build features and publish without having to go through the process of submitting PRs to us and evaluating if the feature is useful for the majority of people that is worth having on our source code. Having the apps framework and people creating those apps, all this new functionality via apps, will allow us to accept a lot more functionality because people will install the apps if they want to. So that's kind of like democratizing the roadmap of the products in a way that we always dreamed about doing, but only now we finally were able to. Those are two things that have been already released. They just have a lot to grow. Another thing that I like, it's then in the future we have projects of getting the database of Rocket.Chat to be a little bit more of a blockchain, where we store all the events of a channel and this sequence of messages in a chain of IDs, so no one can remove or delete something without breaking the chain. So in this way, you can trust the history of every channel. Or if something is deleted, then you say, okay, it's deleted, but it's clearly deleted, and there is a message on the place stating that was deleted. So there's no faking history, no faking messages. And when you tie this into Federation, it's an important feature to have across organizations that they can trust the communication, can trust the history of the message between the two organizations. So, and there's even some talks on how we could turn then those rich messages and buttons into the smart contract. So it can even sell you something, and then if you click OK, your OK is registered in the ledger in a way that someone cannot say, well, no, he told me that he accepted the terms of that contract, and he said like, no, what is the proof? And then he said, okay, the actual message is encrypted with your ID, is in the ledger, so makes the whole communication between different entities a lot more secure and trusted.
Awesome. And what is the biggest challenge that Rocket.Chat product faces?
So I think the biggest challenge that we always balance is how to keep the source code simple, like keeping a clean stack and welcoming for new developers to come and contribute to Rocket.Chat and extend functionality, while making it very powerful and flexible and scalable. So right now we are literally investing on this and on changing some stuff for how we could then turn some functions into microservices when needed, but still allow the whole system to work as a monolith, like a single source code that runs everything, but built in a way that can be easily break into more pieces when you need to scale and you need to get more out of it. So I think the biggest challenge is this, like keeping it simple while making it very extremely powerful.
And what is the hardest part of your role as CEO?
I think one of the harder things for CEO is to understand that the company really looks into the way you do things and your personality and your beliefs, and they spread throughout the company, and not just the good things, but the bad things. So you really need to lead by example. And I see this with my kids, and I think in a company, not surprisingly, is the same way. Like people will copy the leader's behavior on the good things, like we are. And I think I'm proud when I see how welcoming everybody is in Rocket.Chat, how the community is, how we are a project that everybody that gets involved only had good things to talk about the community. There's no, I've seen many other open source communities which is like there is some like bitterness or competition or even I don't know, it can get ugly, and that never happened on Rocket.Chat. And I think that's why, because I can see the way I am and the way the first layer of people that started to work with me, Marcelo, Rodrigo, Diego, and then Singli, like all of them start to be the kind of people that how I treat them. They start treating others, and the others treat others, and then become this community that there's a bit of a family feeling. On the flip side, all my I don't want to say defects, but I don't know, my bad habits sometimes also get spread, and whenever I want to change something, I have to realize that I have to change that on me first if I want to ask people to act differently. So this is the hard part. You have to do a lot of self analyzing and improvement if you want to the whole company to improve together.
So the other question is, how is being the CEO of a growing open source company different from other CEO roles?
I think the first like big difference is that we here are more than just the 30 people that works in Rocket.Chat. It feels like the company is a lot larger and have a lot more opinions floating around and giving feedback and participating in our roadmaps and our strategy. So everything that we do needs to considerate not just customers, not just the employees or investors, but the community is like this major asset and one of the major stakeholders in everything that we do. And it's a different kind of relationship than any of those other ones. It's like a lot of time, like it's not a commercial relationship because they don't, you're not paying us like, for the majority of the users, but they are, they have even maybe a sentimental relationship with us. There's a like love and sometimes hate when we do stuff that they don't like. People can be very vocal and very opinionated about what we should do one thing or the other. So it's different because yeah, we have is a different kind of leverage than if you are talking to customers or investors. It's the power is more balanced, I think, with a community because the community can just abandon you or fork a project or like for them the reason to stay with you is only if they like what you're doing and they respect the company. Otherwise, so it puts us in to always trying having to put our best because we have this relationship with community. It's so important and so also fragile. Like is what holds it together. So that's the main challenge I think other companies don't have.
Nice, Bruno, you can ask.
Awesome. Yeah, with a great community comes a great responsibility.
Yeah.
Okay, let me ask you a few things about product.
Yeah.
All those questions were asked by people on our open server.
Yeah.
And
Our channel.
just remember that if anyone has any other questions, they can continue to ask on our open channel or on YouTube. And if
Do you have it
don't-
open
yeah,
somewhere?
if you don't address it here, we'll certainly address it later.
Okay.
Well, we compiled the most interesting ones, not the most
Move a bit
interesting,
closer.
but
Someone is asking for the mic to be closer.
Okay, yeah.
Okay.
Okay, and I added some gain as well. I should have asked in the beginning. Is the mic better now? If anyone is on the channel, they can give us some feedback about the quality of the sounds.
Okay, in the meantime, let me ask you the first product-related question.
Okay.
This is a very interesting one, and certainly a lot of people are very interested in the answer, which is, are you committed to continuing to allow on-premise deployments?
I was even surprised with if the question because it never even crossed our minds to do differently. So I think that our licensing, the way it is open source, all this stuff, it states quite bluntly that on-prem it's our strength and it's our way of distributing software. So yeah, no, there's no doubt about it. Like all our actions or licensing and business models are created around you being able to run on premise. So
And having full control over
and yeah, that's the whole point of the project.
Awesome. Okay, so the next question is about mobile releases.
Okay.
And it's a little bit big question, but let me start.
Let's break into parts.
Let's break into parts. So
each part.
overall, what are the plans of future mobile releases? There are quite big feature inconsistencies between the web and mobile apps, like end-to-end encryption. And for example, the current mobile apps, they don't support sharing content from other apps like other messaging apps do. So what is the overall roadmap for future mobile?
I think starting from the last one first.
Okay.
From what I know on iOS, I used on our mobile app, you can share content from other apps into the iOS app, and you will on the next release be able to do the same with the React Native, like the experimental app. So, and the experimental app then I think will cover both on iOS and Android. I think the only one that doesn't have its plan in the short term is the Android native.
Okay.
So our plan to close this gap, it's in some way quite simple. It's hard to do, but the strategy is simple. We've been building this React Native app and starting to build in a way that we can start sharing more and more code between the React Native app and the web client. And this is like our ongoing project, but the whole plan with the web client is to migrate to React Native app, to a React JS app, and the iOS app will be replaced with the React Native app in 2 to 3 months. That's the timeline that we have. We will close the gap between those two apps. We have built all the features. You're sharing the SDK. You're already sharing the JavaScript SDK between React Native and the live chat client. Idea is then to share with the web client as well. So I think on the end of the day, the whole idea is build on JavaScript and share code. So whenever our developers are building a feature for one, we only accept features then if they are built on the two projects and tested on both projects. Then they will be released. There's even we're evaluating if we would somehow merge the web client and the React Native client into a single repository. So in that sense, whenever someone is doing a pull request, we know that they will have built the feature in both projects, and we will have tests for both projects. And so yeah, I think this would be the best way to keep feature parity among the apps when you get the web client in React and the mobile app in React Native sharing the same code.
Okay, I think your answer already touched on the next question, which is why isn't it the React Native mobile app created while there are already native apps for Android and iOS?
So
why choose React?
yeah, so the big reason for doing so it was literally, and that's it, started as an experiment, right? Because we wanted already to migrate the web client into React, and then we started thinking, okay, would then have a benefit of sharing code with a mobile app. And to answer that, we started to do this experimental app. We didn't know at the time if it was going to perform well, like what was going to be the user experience. We are very keen in trying to keep things running really fast. We read some of the articles from guys from Discord that they use React Native for iOS and the reasons why they don't use it for Android. And we decided, okay, let's give it a try and make an experiment. If how much code we can share, how much simpler it will be on our release cycle and developers if they are talking the same language and they're able to share code. So I think we decided to do an experiment because we had too many questions on how much better it would be and if it would be fit for purpose. So right now our impression is the app is good to replace the iOS. Android, there are some reasons why Discord doesn't use it, and that's kind of like always an ongoing reevaluation. Like if to get the performance of Android, you still need Kotlin, or maybe in the future React catches on. And I think the ideal world, everybody thinks you would have only a single source code to have the app. That's the holy grail, right? So that's why start an experiment. We wasn't sure it would be fit for purpose, so we couldn't stop the development of the other apps. Now we got to a point where we're confident of replacing iOS. So we only have the React Native code for iOS, and for Android, that's all. We are still uncertain. There's some problems, and we'll reevaluate in the future.
Awesome. Cool. So the next questions, they are a bit more technical, a bit deeper, and but I think it will be very interesting for the community to know about them. So, are there any plans to support other databases than MongoDB?
That's one of the oldest questions in our repository as well. That's a very tough thing to do. Especially while we still use Meteor as our framework, because Meteor is really built in on top of Meteor. The whole idea of like the ways it stores the user objects on the database, the way it listens to changes and the streams from the uplog. And for us, the only way to move away from MongoDB and allow other databases to be used is really if we manage to demeteorize Rocket.Chat. And I think this will happen. Like we have been working towards that goal for some time already, like over a year, and removing the turning package into like regular JavaScript imports, trying to replace the the starting to replace the UI from Meteor's UI framework with React. So I think every little change that we're doing, like on the end, is what's going to help us to say, okay, we can now remove Meteor, use Webpack, and then start bundling the app. But it's rather than doing all at once, maybe it would be too much of a project. We start doing pieces by pieces, and this way people can still also merge and adapt their own deployments. But in the future, once we remove Meteor, then we can think about like how you can actually read the change streams from other data. Then my Postgres would be the first one that would go about developing it. So it's just I cannot give you anyone any promise on a timescale. It's mainly a plan that maybe like in a 1 to 2 years time.
Okay. On a related note, why did you pick Meteor at the start of the project? Why not other frameworks?
So Meteor is the first framework to really incorporate some of the really cool new concepts and new technologies like regarding uh, uh, media data streams, like how packaging single app applications into a single JavaScript bundle, and adding like making the whole development stack work out of the box very easily. So it was easy for our developers to start working on it. We just install the code, install Meteor, and then you were like off to go. At that time, if you wanted to make something similar without a framework, you like spend like a good part of a day just configuring the whole building stack and all the components. And so Meteor was like already opinionated and gluing all those things really well together. So for building his initial project, it really worked great. With some tweaks, we managed to get the scalability that we needed and the performance that we needed. So it was really a good way to get the project off the ground. And I think that's what like lots of people choosing Meteor at the time were doing. I think Meteor now has been a lot of other technology has matured and now it's a different environment for choosing a framework. I think at the time Meteor was really like innovative, like a novelty, and really had something unique. I think still do for a lot of projects. It solves a lot of the problems that you have to try to solve yourself. But now, as we get to more and more demand for higher scalability, more speed, more optimization, we are in a moment that of our project that makes sense for us to have our own. It's not like having our own framework, but almost like not depending on any single like big framework. Maybe we have like a library supporting what's simply, but we should be writing very specific code for our use case to get the most of the performance that we need.
Awesome. I think we have a question on the open server. Let's check.
Related to the other one.
Okay, yeah.
So other than database support, are there any other reasons for demeteorizing our projects? I think one of the reasons is there are other reasons, yes. And one, like we would have Meteor have now implemented multiple entry points, like and then in Rocket.Chat we think we must break the app into different entry points. That meaning the admin console shouldn't need to be bundled on the app for everybody to have the whole admin program. You should have /admin should then open a different app and make the main app lighter for everybody that is using the main app. The live chat widget also is a different entry point. So I think being able to break into different entry points and using some of the new technology like Webpack makes a lot of sense. I think the amount of work that even the Meteor team, the MDG is putting into Meteor have been decreasing over time. They are investing a lot more on Apollo and related technologies. They have even not abandon, but like returning to give to the community to manage the UI framework. Which the name is just
Yeah, I don't know.
it's not handlebars, but it's the one based on handlebars. Um, but so I think the if we want to keep relevant and flexible and updated on the technologies, we might need to go to get some of just the components that we need and create our own framework. Let's see if someone actually is helping us. Um, network when okay. Oh, this is from
From YouTube.
YouTube. Okay, but and the database, let's say the user object, some authentication, something that we want to change a little bit and do better. DDP is also a very heavier than it needed to be for just messaging. So it adds a lot of data that we could be streaming in a much better way. So we started to grow in a way apart from Eager in the sense that a lot of the stuff they do it automatically for us. It's really good for a generic purpose application, but when we go and we start to be more and more specific, then they start to be a burden rather than helping us on the development. So it got to a point where we have to do so many hacks around on streamings and create other protocols rather than UDP. Then when some point it's like, okay, what you're already using Meteor for? Like you're already moving away so much. So for us, it would be almost like growing up and graduating from Meteor. So okay, now we know what we need to do. We don't need to have all this generic multi-purpose framework. We can build a single purpose framework for us.
Okay, cool. So the next section is related to a possible feature request, or maybe this could be addressed by an external app. But the question is, I would like to provide for my users the possibility of pushing RSS feeds to the channels. Is it possible to create it with the current Rocket.Chat apps? If not, are you planning to support it?
From what I understand, like the current feature set, I don't see why it wouldn't be possible. Like the app have the ability to query external resources, maybe like parse the XML feeds. It can store on its own database like what is the last timestamp of the message, the news that was syndicated. So I can see that it could easily get those messages and then distribute in channels, results from the RSS feed. So yeah, I don't see why you wouldn't be able to build this as an app. If there is any reason, please tell me, and then we'll work to fix, because that's one of the use cases that we always discussed when talking about the apps engine. So you should be able to.
Cool.
What was the question on the channel?
That's just a YouTube question.
How to avoid network with more than one developer in the community might want to start developing single functionality? Rework. How to avoid rework. I think the best thing to do is always to comment. You create an issue for what you're going to do even before you start work, and then stating that putting a comment that you're starting to work on that. This is good not just to let other people know what you're working on, but also to get feedback on your ideas. A lot of times, other people will come and say, "Oh, it could even better if you do it this way," or give you references of other projects that have done something similar, or like features in other systems. Yeah, reworked. So, and I think one of the other parts is whenever you start work, as soon as possible, maybe even get a PR, a pull request out there, but flag is as a draft, so people know that you're not submitting the final code, but you're showing that you have started. Because sometimes people say, "I will start on this," but then like months later, there's nothing. Yeah. So I think the best way for people to keep it seriously, if you then open a pull request, mentioning on the pull request that will close, that closes that issue that you've opened. In this way, you kind of keep everybody in the loop on the progress, what you're doing, and even it's a nice way to get feedback from other people to help you do that.
Cool. This next question is a little bit more related to air-gapped servers, so servers that have no internet
Off the
connection.
grid.
Yeah, completely off the grid. We have several people who are running off the grid servers, and the question is because right now with version 1.x we need to register the instance to install free marketplace apps. So going forward, is it likely to remain like this, or do we have any plans to allow free apps to be installed without any kind of registration?
So what we want to do is to allow off-the-grid installs. So I think I used in the past like Jira, and back in the day there was a way even to register a Jira server just by going to the UI on the Atlassian accounts page, and then you copy and paste the code that the server generates into the marketplace, and then you could buy apps and download the apps, and then you could download to a pen drive and just install in the server. So the whole idea is to allow that communication to happen offline. Like for all apps, we still kind of generate a license key just so our developers have knowledge of like how many people are downloading and using the app, so you can generate stats. So even for free apps, the community thinks it's very valid for them to have this understanding of how many servers are running. So we'll like generate those keys for people to download and run the apps, but you need to allow this to happen on an offline way. Like you just be able to install from a pen drive.
Okay, so it's planned.
Yeah,
Awesome.
I think it's very close to that already. Like
Yeah.
the whole way it works, we always said it needed to happen. So that's a good point to double check on the requirements on the marketplace project.
Laura asked, I think there's a question.
Okay, yeah. Regarding RSS, I would like to allow users to add feeds to channel. So it would be preferable to have all the logic in Rocket.Chat app. I will take a look, and once there will be feature parity between React Native and web apps. I don't want to confuse users with not working features on mobile. I see, but cool. I think you wouldn't need to wait for the feature parity because the app would be running on the server. So the app would, I imagine, would create a bot when people can ask the bot to add a specific URL to that channel. Can say RSS bot add and give URL, then the RSS bot puts in its memory and start pulling from that RSS feed and posting messages on that channel. So you wouldn't need to wait for feature parity between the apps. It would be just regular messages, and you'll be talking to a bot. That's the way I imagine the feature. And regarding React Native app, end-to-end encryption, when is it going to arrive? So the end-to-end encryption, there is already on the timeline. I need to check. The guys have just restructured the Asana project to put that in the timeline, and I think it's towards the end of September, but I need to check that.
Yeah.
Okay, guys, here's the last question, but you can keep asking in our channel or GitHub. So, what are you doing to ensuring that Rocket.Chat stays relevant in the ever increasingly competitive chat collaboration space?
So, for us, the answer is the same as always. Like We really believe that our community and the amount of developers and the amount of people working and pushing Rocket.Chat to different use cases and different boundaries is our biggest asset. Is what will keep us relevant. It's to have a healthy community, have the apps engine and framework that allow people to be as creative as they want, and to have a super powerful UI and engine behind that people can use as a basis to build those different apps. And that together with the federation, so interconnecting large amounts of people in the community, I think will really be something hard for another system to come over and just build something like that. So yeah, the community, the openness, like the open source, it's what keep us relevant and always pushing the limits and going to new spaces.
Awesome.
Awesome indeed.
What
Yeah, let's
else?
check. We have any questions on YouTube
Oh,
or the
I think there's someone answering his RSS feed.
Okay, Aaron.
Scheduling. Okay, I think I was going to mention that I wasn't sure if the scheduling is already built in to do this news feed or something that still need to be triggered from outside, like the pulling. But probably the scheduling is the last feature an RSS feed pulling system would need to be able to be developed. Thanks, Aaron, for
Yeah, thanks for jumping in.
for participating on the Ask Me Anything.
Awesome.
Awesome.
Okay, guys, I think that's it. We appreciate all the questions, and if you have any further questions, you can continue to ask on the AMA channel on our open server, and we'll try to ask all of them. If you have any support questions that you have arisen during this time, feel free to contact us at support.rocket.chat, and we'll do our best to help you out. So see you next time. Thanks, Gabriel.
Yeah, and then just like one last communication also, like we've been planning to do this kind of Ask Me Anything for a while, and I think it works well. We the whole plan is we should make this like every month. So the idea is to do after every release when it comes out. We'll do Ask Me Anything, but more in a sense that we also talk about the features of that release, what is new, what has changed, try to gather some feedback. Maybe we can even invite some people to participate or to be connected remotely. So this is a ongoing development. Like this, we want to improve, we want to make it frequent. So I don't want this to be just a one-off situation. Let's do it every month, and we are willing. Please give us some feedback on how we should change to get more engagement, so you guys can feel more participating on the conversation than just maybe sending the message.
Awesome.
Anything else? What are some of the next top integrations planned for Rocket.Chat?
Let's keep going.
Would RC apply for Google Codes? Google Code. I'm not sure. Okay, please give me more information on what do you mean by Google Codes. Not Google Server Code, I believe, but something else, and I'm feeling ignorant because I have no idea what it is. And the other one is, what are some of the top integrations planned for Rocket.Chat? That's one of the beauty of it is that we don't want to be the only ones planning the integrations. The whole idea is we are planning to make building integrations as apps as easy as possible, so anyone can build the integrations and start publishing it. The ones that we are working right now is there's the WhatsApp API integration, so people can just do their customer services from the customers on WhatsApp or Facebook or Telegram into the Rocket.Chat live chat queue. So this is the main one that we're working, and all the Atlassian integrations. But after that, we need to ask the community what they think it's worth, and then we reprioritize. But for me, the powerful thing is you shouldn't be waiting for us to come up with the integration. So we need to give the community the tools to build whatever integration they deem necessary, and just publish on the marketplace. I think he added the tool. Would actually apply for Google Code in a program similar to GSOC, but in high school students. I think we thought about that when we were there. When I was at least in the Google campus on the last summit, and we would. I think we need. We've been improving in the way we mentor our students on the Google Summer of Codes. Maybe next year, if we have more people, it could be interesting. I think we need to be ready for the demands of like how much time from our team it takes. In the past, we've been already kind of like everybody overworked and so much on their plates that even mentoring GSOC students who are more senior and at least need less. I think mentoring is already kind of a challenge that we love, but it's nevertheless a challenge. So to do the for schools, we know we're going to have some like one dedicated or something like this. So maybe Sync can help us plan and make this one of the objectives for next year.
Okay.
I
think it was the last one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anything else? What is the delay there? Okay,
I think
a few seconds delay.
Yeah, we have touch on that.
Building process.
Yeah, for mobile app and Electron.
Yes, again, to automate the build and maybe on the Electron put on the stores. Yes, we're now going through our new funding round, and we're gonna get more people to work on those things. The areas that have been a bit neglected.
And the last one is: are we going to have a Rocket.Chat conference in Europe?
That's it. We must.
That would be awesome. Yeah.
Now, I think we've also part of the investment round that we are closing now is to be able to spend some more money on getting organizing community. For us, having the apps was a big part of it because we want to have a community that builds the apps and then talking about the apps that they build.
Yeah.
And so I think maybe that's about the time now to have those conferences, even to inform developers on how to build their own apps, and then in the future maybe have people like talking about the apps that they have built and organizing into building those features. So definitely, yeah.
Awesome.
Nice.
Thanks everyone.
So
feel free to ask more questions.
Yeah, and it's not your last chance. Like I
Yeah.
said, we're gonna do
Have
this
more
monthly. So
see you next month, and thank you.
thank you. See
See
you
you
next
guys.
month.
Bye-bye.
See you
Bye,
guys.
guys.
Bye bye.